If you feel like you're not getting stronger, if you feel like your endurance is just at a standstill and you feel like you're just pushing yourself way too much to be seeing zero return, and you feel as if you've just hit a bit of a plateau, in this video I'm going to show you exactly how to surpass that plateau and start actually seeing some results. So there's a couple of reasons why you may have hit some form of plateau. There's four main ones that I would probably say. The first one is poor movement mechanics. So it's just the way that you move in a certain movement, whether that's squats, deadlifts, whatever it may be. Weak stabilizer muscles, all the big lifts tend to really rely on all the small muscles that you don't really pay much attention to. The third one is just not progressively overloading, not actually pushing yourself as much as you probably could be. When it comes to sessions, too many people tend to just half-arse it, go 50-60%. And then the fourth one is probably the biggest one, to be honest, and it's recovery, making sure that you're getting enough recovery, making sure you're sleeping enough, making sure that you're having carbs pre and post workout, getting enough protein in to be able to recover, to be able to then push on the next session. So they are going to be the four main ones, and I'm going to talk through those just now. So before you go ahead and try and actually fix things, we need to identify the actual problem and the actual issue. So we're going to go over a couple of things. So the strength, for example, let's just use squats. So if you fail a 1 rep max squat, can you have a look and see where it's failed? If you're failing at the bottom of the squat, for example, you may need a little bit more core strength just to be able to keep your body upright, keep a bit more stable. Or you might just have weak glutes and you're not able to really fire and power through at the bottom of that movement. When it comes to conditioning, if you're gassing out way too quickly in workouts, it could be a case of pacing. It could be an issue there, so you could add in some EMOMs, whatever it may be, or it might not be pacing at all. It might just be your aerobic endurance isn't quite there, and you need to actually work on spending longer periods of time on certain ergs or doing certain movements. So that's where AMRAPs, etc., long sustainable paced AMRAPs could come into play. And then when it comes to recovery, have a look at your sleep. See what's going right, what's going wrong, whether you're getting enough sleep or not, whether you are fueling before, after workouts. Look at the amount of calories you're having. Are you hitting your protein, or are you going way too high on the carbohydrates and fat? So the main thing is looking at those three areas and really pinpointing the actual issues, so you can then go ahead and fix those issues. So when it comes to strength plateaus, to be honest, when it's something that's to do with strength, it's either the way that you've structured your programming. So you'll go through different phases: accumulation, intensification, peak, or realization. And it's how you structure that. If you feel as if you're just going into the gym and you're trying to max out every single week, then that's partly probably the reason as to why you've hit some form of plateau, just because you're not actually allowing your body to recover too much, and you're not progressing as the week goes on. You're just kind of throwing yourself 100%, firing all cylinders at once, and essentially you're just going to burn out. Or another thing it could possibly be is you're just not hitting your accessories hard enough. Like if you, I'm going back to using the squat as an example, if you are feeling in the squat, you might just have to add in some more unilateral work. You might just need to push yourself a little bit more in your accessories and in your compounds, and that's where it comes from, the progressive overload that we spoke about at the start of the video, just to ensure that you're actually training as hard as you possibly can. But if it is a plateau when it comes to specific compound movements like squats, deadlifts, bench press, overhead press, split jerks, etc., the majority of that will probably come down to the way that the programming is. So you can maybe take a step back, work at lower percentages to begin with, build on foundations, build on technique, and then gradually build it up from there, and then eventually hit a peak where you would retest. In an ideal world, you would see some progress. When it comes to conditioning, I kind of mentioned this already. it's a case of like pacing might just be the issue there. So if pacing is an issue, you would probably chuck in an EMOM, just making it 40 seconds work, 20 seconds rest, just to ensure that you are getting a good amount of rest and you're able to pace the workout, so you're getting sustainable efforts every single round, rather than going balls to the wall in the first round, and then second round, third round, fourth round, it gradually declines. You want to be working at like consistent paces throughout. And again, AMRAPs are another good variation of that. You can throw in AMRAPs for, let's just say, bike, ski, row, 15 calories on each one, and it's a 15-minute AMRAP, and you just want a sustainable pace around. Again, you can look at heart rate as well. If you have a smartwatch, or if you use a heart rate monitor, you can ensure that you're kind of staying in that zone 2 range of heart rate. Sorry, the dog is barking at the door. So yeah, you can, what I was saying was, you can use obviously heart rate monitors to just ensure that you are staying in that zone 2 range of heart rate. But also when it comes to aerobic stuff and conditioning, you do want to ensure that you are still seeing some form of progressive overload for that. So for example, if it was in every minute on the minute using the ergs, bike, ski, row, and you were going for 12 calories every minute, obviously next again week you would possibly either increase the EMOM, so instead of it being every minute on the minute for 12 minutes, the next again week it would be every minute on the minute for 15 minutes, and then the week after that it could be every minute on the minute for 15 minutes, but instead of 12 calories you're doing 14 calories. So you're making sure that you're continuously progressing, you're continuously building on the conditioning side of things, just to make sure that your aerobic capacity is increasing. And you can do the same with AMRAPs. You can slightly tweak certain things within the AMRAP. Maybe instead of a 400-meter row, you do 500 a week after. You maybe add in another exercise. You increase the time of the AMRAP and so on. So there are multiple different ways that you can work on your aerobic capacity without just having to do long stints of zone 2. But again, that's completely dependent on what your weaknesses are, what you have to work on. Some mixed modal sessions might be good for you, but mixed cyclical also might be good, depending on whether it's just ergs that you suffer with, or if it's the dumbbell movements, etc., that are causing a bit of an issue. Because if that's the case, then obviously we'll then have to kind of work under fatigue a little bit more with those dumbbell movements to ensure that you can still go at a sustained pace and still actually perform quite well under fatigue, especially when it comes to like heavy dumbbell movements and stuff. And then when it comes to recovery, it's nice and simple. The 3 main ones that I would say to kind of look for is ensure that you're getting between 7 and 9 hours sleep. Like, I can't stress enough how underrated sleep is. Sleep is extremely underrated. So if you're not getting 7 to 9 hours, you're missing out on so much progress. Making sure that we're eating enough protein. Obviously you can work that out. I would normally say for girls probably go 1.8 grams per kg of body weight, and for guys either 2 or 2.2 grams per kg of body weight. That gives you a rough idea of how much protein you should be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And then the final one is carbs pre and post workout. Like, actually take your nutrition serious. If you're kind of having carbs randomly throughout the day, or if you're saving them all to the evening, like, carbs are your main source of energy. You want to ensure that you're having a good amount pre-workout, probably about that 45 to 60 minutes pre-workout, just to ensure that you're allowing it time to be able to obviously get into the system and give you a lot more energy and to be able to go ahead and do that session. And then also afterwards, making sure that within about 45 to 60 minutes after your workout, obviously that's optimal. It doesn't have to be exactly 45 to 60 minutes after the workout, but consuming some after the workout as well, just because it does replenish your glycogen stores and it is going to help with recovery as well. So they are the 3 main things when it comes to plateauing. Hopefully you can take something from this video that's going to help you be able to look at your training in a bit of a different light, and make sure that you now can see maybe what's going right, what's going wrong, weaknesses, areas that you maybe have to change. So if you did take anything from this video, drop a comment below, leave a like, and if you need some help with your programming, please feel free to fire me over a message and I'm more than happy to help.